You open your eyes for the very first time. There is no gentle blur of warm faces leaning over you, only the stabbing white glare of overhead lamps, cold and clinical, reflecting off walls of brushed steel. The air tastes metallic, sharp in your newborn lungs. Somewhere nearby, machines hum in a low, steady rhythm, their pulse dictating yours. The smell of antiseptic bites at your nostrils. The first voice you hear is not a mother cooing your name. It's deep, measured, commanding. A man, or maybe a soldier, leans over you, eyes like polished glass, his armor creaks when he moves. He glances at a readout, then mutters without warmth, strong enough to keep. You don't understand the words yet. But you will. Across the room, another infant wails, higher, weaker. The sound cuts off suddenly, leaving an echo in the cavernous hall. No one reacts, no one mourns. You are on Viltrum. A world where weakness is a death sentence, and strength is the only currency worth having. You don't know it yet, but survival here isn't your birthright, it's your first test. Your first home is not a cradle, it is a cage. Steel walls close around you, the air dry and thin. For times the pull of earth drags at your tiny limbs, pressing you into the hard floor. Every movement feels like pushing through wet cement, every breath a battle. You try to lift your head, a natural reflex, and pain shoots down your neck like fire. You cry, but here, crying is background noise. No one comes to comfort you. There are no soft voices, no lullabies. Instead, to figures, your parents, stand behind a wall of reinforced glass. Their faces are carved from stone, unreadable. Arms crossed, watching, measuring. You don't know the word for love. You will never learn it here. On Viltrum, affection is considered a flaw, a distraction. Every day, the gravity chamber strengthens your muscles, your bones, your lungs. But it also teaches the lesson that will define the rest of your life. On Viltrum, no one will save you, ever. You survive your first year. That alone means you've already outlived dozens of others. The halls outside your gravity cage are quieter now, not because the other infants have grown, but because fewer of them remain. At 2 years old, you can already walk. The gravity still crushes your every step, but your legs are slabs of iron now. Your toys aren't wooden blocks or stuffed animals, they're weighted cubes, each the size of your torso, each heavier than your body. You're not expected to play with them, you're expected to lift them. By 3, something extra begins to happen. You feel it when you're angry or desperate, a lightness in your bones, a tug from the sky. One day, you hover off the floor for the first time, only to collapse face first back into the steel. Congratulations, you can levitate. No one claps. Your reward, combat training. The Juvenile Combat Initiative isn't some after-school program. It's a fight club for children, except here, everyone's parents are in the audience, and they're rooting for someone to bleed. On your first day, they shove you into the ring with Lauro, a boy 2 years older, twice your size, and with a smile like he's already imagining how to kill you. The rules are simple: incapacitate your opponent. Incapacitate means unconscious if you're lucky, dead if you're not. The bell clangs, Lauro charges, his fist is a boulder, and you're the nail. You hit the floor so hard the air leaves your lungs in a single, humiliating squeak. Somewhere in the stands, your father's voice cuts through. Get up, not are you hurt? Not you can do it, just get up. You stagger to your feet, blood running down your chin. Your legs shake, but so does Laro's balance after your fist connects with his jaw. He stumbles, that's all you need. You slam him to the ground, both of you gasping. The crowd of parents and instructors bursts into applause. Not for you, not for Lauro, for the principle of the thing. Strength has been displayed. That's all that matters. You're 5 years old. You've just earned your place, for now. Your first day of school smells like ozone and gun oil. There are no bright murals, no paper name tags. Just steel walls and an instructor whose arms are thicker than your torso. History class isn't about dates and dusty kings. It is a victory reel, a carefully curated list of every civilization your people have ever crushed. The teacher's voice swells with pride as they describe the burning of worlds, the enslavement of survivors, the strategic elimination of anyone deemed unfit. Science isn't fun experiments with bubbling beakers, it's weapons engineering. You learn the molecular composition of armor-piercing alloys before you learn how to read fluently. Every problem ends with, "And how would you use this to destroy an enemy stronghold?" Mathematics, not fractions, not geometry, war logistics. Calculating food rations for an occupying army, predicting casualty rates, optimizing planetary sieges. Every wrong answer earns you not a red mark, but push-ups until your arms go numb. Physical education is just a combat, no track meets, no dodgeball. You're dropped into a sparring circle until you collapse, then dragged out so the next kid can take your place. One day, history takes a darker turn, the Purging. A civil war from thousands of years ago, the day Viltrum perfected itself, the strong decided the weak were a liability and solved the problem by killing half the population. Your teacher smiles as they describe the rivers of blood, the skies choked with ash. Every word is heavy with pride. You write it down like it's a fact about the weather. Here, genocide isn't a tragedy. It's a foundation. At 10, you finally fly. Not to feel the wind on your face, but to descend into someone else's nightmare. The planet below is blackened with smoke. Villages burn in neat, tactical rows, the air taste of iron and ash. Prisoners kneel in the dirt, chains biting into their wrists. General Corv, your commander, a man whose expression has never once shifted in your presence, points at them. Decide their fate. You freeze. You're 10 years old. Their faces are terrified, hollowed out. Somewhere in the back of your mind, the thought slips in, they're not fighting. Maybe we could, but hesitation on Viltrum is a form of weakness. Weakness is treason, and treason has one sentence. Your hand rises, trembling, and points to the execution squad. The sound is over in seconds. Bodies hit the ground like sacks of grain. That night, you stare at the ceiling. The images won't leave. You wonder if you made the wrong call. The next night, you sleep fine. On Viltrum, guilt has an expiration date. 16 years of training boil down to 3 days. They drop you, and 30 others, onto a barren moon whose gravity is 3 times Viltrum's. Every step feels like it's grinding your bones into powder. The air is thin, scraping your throat raw with every breath. Somewhere behind you, a candidate collapses. No one stops to help. Helping would only mean to dead bodies instead of one. Day 1 is a race across a jagged, volcanic wasteland. The ground cuts through your boots. You taste blood every time you inhale. Those who fall behind disappear from the line, claimed by exhaustion, injury, or the instructor's quiet, efficient sidearms. You keep running. On Viltrum, the finish line isn't the goal, it's survival itself. Day 2 is the combat arena. It's you and Lauro, the same boy who beat you bloody in the juvenile pits years ago. He's taller now, broader, the kind of fighter who smiles before he swings. The bell sounds, he charges, you sidestep, drive your fist into his temple, and he's out cold before he hits the floor. You don't celebrate. On Viltrum, knocking someone out is just another chore. Day 3 is the siege simulation. You're given a squad, a map, and 30 seconds to plan an assault on a fortified enemy compound. Vetra, your teammate charges ahead before you even open your mouth. The instructors probably chose her to see if you'd let her get herself killed. You don't. Through smoke, debris, and a wall of live fire, you drag the squad into formation, breach the stronghold, and take it. The instructors note your leadership. They also note Vetra's impulsiveness, which in Viltrumite terms is a death warrant waiting to be signed. Then comes the final test, the free-for-all. No weapons restrictions, no allies you can trust. You fight in a maze of cliffs and tunnels where the sound of breaking bone echoes like music to the instructors above. Betrayals are immediate. Former teammates gut each other for a shot at living another hour. You last until the end, not by being the strongest, but by being the one who knew when to strike and when to vanish. By sunset, there are 3 of you left, all barely standing. You're handed the insignia of a Viltrumite warrior. It's small, heavy, you've killed for less. They don't shake your hand, they don't congratulate you. Affection isn't a currency here. The only reward is the knowledge you won't be eliminated. War stops being a mission, it becomes a commute. You fly in, tear through a planet's defenses, grind its resistance into dust, and fly out again before the ashes cool. Every world looks different, but dies the same. Some conquests take an hour, some take a year. None take a piece of you anymore, because that piece is long gone. Your name rises in the ranks, but on Viltrum, rank is just a polite way of saying not dead yet. You don't get parades or statues. Just more campaigns. Somewhere along the way, you stop aging. At 25, your reflection freezes. You'll look like this forever. By 40, you've seen enough slaughter to fill entire libraries of history. You've forgotten more planets than most species will ever visit. You've lost count of how many people died looking into your eyes. Immortality isn't a gift here. It's a sentence, one you serve at the edge of a blade. It's not a battlefield that summons you this time. It's the high command chamber, quieter, colder, and somehow more dangerous than any war zone you've stepped into. They hand you a file, not a mission schematic. Not a target dossier, a birth plan. The planet is called Corylus, lush, peaceful, rich in resources, no standing army to speak of. The kind of place Viltrum could take in a single afternoon if they wanted to, but they don't, not yet. Your orders are simple: infiltrate, integrate, and reproduce. The Empire has decided your genetics are exemplary. Their word for we like your odds of surviving anything short of a supernova. They want those genes in the next generation. Half-bloods are a cornerstone of Viltrumite strategy. You seed a planet with offspring strong enough to blend in, then one day, the fleet arrives, and the half-bloods are ready-made leaders for the occupation. You're not given a choice. On Viltrum, refusal is just another word for execution, so you nod, take the file, and prepare to swap the warfront for the bedroom. You arrive on Corylus in disguise. No armor, no insignia, just the worn robes of a supposed refugee fleeing distant wars. The Corylans welcome you without suspicion. They're the kind of people who think hospitality is strength. You know better, but you let them believe it. Her name is Alara. The first time you meet, she's carrying a basket of woven cloth and asks if you're hungry. On Viltrum, kindness like that would be a trap. Here, it's just a kindness. She's meant to be your assignment, your genetic delivery system. But weeks turn into months, and something unexpected happens. You start listening to her laugh. You notice how she moves through life without the constant coiled readiness of a predator. You almost forget you're here to weaponize her womb. Years later, you have two children. Both are strong, stronger than they should be at their age, and you start training them quietly. Not in the Viltrumite way of breaking them down until they hate you, but in a way that makes them want to grow stronger. You teach them to lift and fly, but you also teach them not to strike first, to protect those who can't protect themselves. On Viltrum, that's treason wrapped in a lullaby. You don't care. Somewhere between the orders you were given and the family you made, you stopped being just a Viltrumite soldier. You started being something much more dangerous in the Empire's eyes, a Viltrumite with a conscience. It starts the way every invasion starts, with a shadow across the sun. The Corylus sky turns black under the wings of the Empire's fleet. Silver-armored Viltrumite soldiers drop through the clouds like falling stars, each one a weapon wrapped in flesh. Their leader is General Corv, older now, scarred, still radiating the same cold efficiency he did the day he ordered you to pick your first execution. You've fought hundreds of battles, but you know this one is different. This time, you're not trying to win, you're trying to delay. The first clash is brutal. You hit like a meteor, shattering soldiers into the dirt, breaking armor with your bare hands. Every punch is a second bought for Alara and the children. Every kick is a few more heartbeats for them to get farther into the wild. They keep coming. Viltrumite soldiers are bred for endurance, and they fight without hesitation. They are you, the version of you who never learned compassion, who never doubted the mission. A blow catches your ribs, another cracks your jaw. You fight through the pain, not because you think you can turn the tide, but because this is the only way you can keep your promise. At some point, you're on your knees. The soil of Corylus is warm beneath you, soaked in your blood. Corv approaches. His shadow falls over you just like the fleets did. You could have been a general, he says. You smile, or maybe it's just the last twitch of your lips. I'd rather be a father. The final strike ends it. The Empire records your death as treason. Your name is erased from the official history. On Viltrum, that means you never existed. But somewhere beyond the forests, your children are running. They carry your strength in their bones, your defiance in their hearts. And in whispers, never aloud, they will keep your name alive. You were born in a cage that bent gravity itself, your muscles forced to fight the weight of a world before you could speak. You were raised in a society that measured worth in body counts, where affection was a weakness and hesitation was a death sentence. You survived the purging. You passed the trials, you conquered worlds. You became exactly what the Empire made you to be, until you didn't. In the end, your greatest act wasn't the thousands you killed, the worlds you broke, or the battles you won. It was the day you turned against everything you were trained to be. For the sake of two small lives who didn't ask to be born into the shadow of Viltrum. You leave no statue, no medal, no line in the Empire scrolls. But in the bloodlines of Corliss, in the hands of your children's children, your defiance will outlive every star the Viltrumites ever conquer. And for someone born in a gravity cage, that's more freedom than you ever thought you'd have. If you've made it this far, you're clearly built for more than just surviving. So before you take off for your next conquest, hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest victory you'll ever claim, and it keeps stories like this coming straight to your battlefront.